What's up, everyone? Eric again with HamRadioConcepts, making a video here on 5 Hytera radios. DMR. Hytera is the leader in DMR. A lot of people watching this will know that. A lot of people that are into DMR know what Hytera is. What I'm about to show you is a video on these 5 units, 4 handhelds and a mobile, 50-watt mobile. And the Hytera right now, currently, these are the 5 pretty popular LMR radios, land mobile radios, geared for the professional or the commercial market, primarily in the European market. But Hytera has announced that they are coming out with a North American version of these 5 handhelds that will be exclusive to ham radio users, minus some of the features that you see in these in the commercial market, which will drive the price down even more. So Gigaparts, I borrowed these from Gigaparts. I wanted to check these out in a video. I said, hey, let me check out the LMR units now. I'll give a brief overview of each one of these. Not a review video, not what I think about the radios, but an overview on each of the specs. When you're going to look for one of these radios, you want to check out the features. Hopefully this video will show you at least what they have. Now again, in this video, I'm explaining these 5 radios, which are LMR. So the frequencies I may mention in this video are specific to the LMR specifications. For instance, the 682 here is available in several different options, VHF and UHF, but the ham version for the North American market is probably going to be locked down for a frequency allocation geared for ham radio use. Most of the other features will stay the same. Some that are not used in the ham world, like man down, for example, and a couple other ones will be stripped out. A custom firmware will be uploaded to these, and they'll be frequency specific for ham radio, and you'll save some money. When the North American models come out, Gigaparts will be the exclusive North American reseller for Hytera North American ham radio models. Now, Hytera has been sold by several different companies and dealers across the US and across the world, and a lot of people are already familiar with their quality. I have to say, these are not compared to a Bofeng or a TYT. A lot of people are frowning upon TYT radios. I happen to say that I've made videos on several of them, and I enjoy the quality of a TYT. A lot of people do, but these are nothing compared to a TYT. These are more durable. They are military standard tested. They are submersible. Most of them are, and we're going to check out the overview video here on each of these 5 radios. In the description, there is a promo code for each one of these radios, so you can get some savings through Gigaparts. But thanks, Gigaparts, for letting me borrow these and make a video. And when I get one of the ham specific models, I'll borrow one of those, and we'll check out what the difference really is and see how much it is then and what the comparison is. But also after this video, I'll make some programming video and some tests on my open spot, and we'll see just really how they sound and how the Hytera software works. I have some of the cables for these, but the software is available online, and the link is in the description for the software. So let's get to it. One more thing, these are single band radios. Now in the video I might have said different frequency ranges, or happen to have said dual band, but again, I'm making an overview of these current LMR land mobile radios. The North American market will be just a little bit different. So here goes the 5 Hytera radios. All right, so let's talk about the first, the PD362 by Hytera. I consider this the pocket-sized entry-level radio, very affordable. This is UHF only, 430 through 470 megahertz, 3 watts on high, 1.5 watts on low. So great for if you're in range of a couple DMR repeaters, or you want to use it for a hotspot on the desk. You know, it serves the purpose, it does well, and it doesn't break the bank. This is the land mobile model, but the our amateur model will be substantially less because they have a custom firmware on it, and it'll be geared only for ham radio. So they could take out some features and you can save money. But UHF, the fixed antenna on top doesn't come off. No knobs on the top for zones or volume. Only a PTT button and a transmit power button on the left, and your left and right here for volume. Your up and down for different zones. Don't let this little speaker fool you. This speaker gets louder than my ID51 ICOM. It's great in a mobile or outdoor environment. So that little speaker cranks at 0.4 watts of audio output. The menu, very basic. Contact list, messages, call logs, scan, zone, and settings. So 256 channels total, memory channels. That's 128 analog, 128 digital through 16 zones. 5.64 ounces. This thing weighs almost nothing. I mean, it really is less than a TY-T380, and but the quality is way up there. IP54 rated, military standard 810 testing, so this can handle the elements in the outdoors, so don't be afraid. And you know, the good thing about it, with the 2000 milliamp battery at a 5.90 duty cycle, at 3 watts, you'll get almost 12 hours of battery life. And another cool thing I like is the charging port on here is actually a micro USB charging port. So you can use your Samsung charger, your phone charger, your car charger, the one on your laptop to charge this. The same one that fits in your Galaxy or other very common micro USB will charge this radio. And the programming cable uses the micro USB as well. So a great first radio to get into DMR from Hytera that can handle the outdoor elements, will be effective and not break the bank. So that's the most important thing. But for the people that want more features, we're going to go to the next radio real quick and show you the specs on the next radio. And all the specs on these radios are available on the internet at Hytera or Gigaparts, and the software for programming is also available on Gigaparts free as well. So let's go to the next model, the PD682. Man, this thing feels solid. It's got a nice, cool look to it, a sleek look to it, and you know, this is, a lot of people comment and say that they have a PD682 and they love it. Military standard, 810 tested, IP67 submersible. First, let me show you briefly one segment of what military standard 810 tested means. As far as the military standard goes, with it being rust proof and waterproof and submersible and drop proof, someone mentioned I didn't drop it on the ground hard enough, so I'm going to do it again. Okay, and if that wasn't enough, whoops, we'll do it again. All right, that's a pretty solid radio. This thing's heavy. You know, it's still working. I'm going to throw it again. Whoops. Let's see if that worked. Yep, it survived. Almost hit my drum set here, but it worked. So, military standard, drop proof, tough. That's what they claim. I mean, this radio here, the 682, I'm telling you right now, this thing, to me, in my honest opinion, is tougher than my Yaesus and my ICOMs, even tougher than a TYT. You know, if I did that with my ICOM ID51 or my Yaesu Fusion handheld, it wouldn't survive doing it that many times. So that stood the drop test. I mean, military standard testing is way beyond dropping it. It's submersion, it's rust proof, it's pressure tolerant. But that was just an example because this thing feels solid. It's a whole different look of a radio in terms of comparing it to the previous PD362. You have a color screen with a few colors on it, not totally 100% color, but the other radios I'm going to show you after this incorporate the same screen with this kind of menu structure, so a little bit easier to navigate in the menu than on the PD362. A lot of the features in here are similar for the other models I'm going to show you, and the code plug software is about identical for all of them. Now, this one is 10.23 ounces, so almost twice the weight of the pocket-sized PD362. It does have 1,024 channels with 64 zones, so you get more capacity in this radio for traveling. Maybe something you do with a lot of repeaters and a lot of talk groups. You can store a lot of them in here and not have to worry about channel capacity. The G series on this model includes GPS. Now, GPS can be used on, for instance, the Brandmeister network, which incorporates the GPS to use it with the APRS network, so you can be seen. And I haven't used the APR or the GPS functionality on, say, my old TYT390 on the Brandmeister because I really didn't travel with it much. But a lot of people have commented and said, yes, Brandmeister does welcome GPS. So if you get the VHF version of this, again, this is the land mobile version. If you get the VHF version, it's 136 to 174 megahertz and 400 through 527 on the UHF version. Mono band, but the North American version is probably going to be locked to ham specific frequencies and not have all that broad spectrum because it's going to be a North American model. 5 watts on high on VHF, 4 watts on low, or 4 watts on high on UHF, and 1 watt on low. So it is a full power radio with plenty of capacity, a nice stylish look to it, and it does incorporate a rapid charge rate on this. So the charge rate for this radio is a lot better than it is on the 362. So instead of a 3.7 volt battery, it's got a 7.4 volt battery. So that's probably why they incorporated the high charge rate. And the land mobile series will have this unit right here will integrate data options for maybe the commercial side for like dispatching and some other stuff. Probably going to strip that in the firmware for the North American model because we're not really going to use that in the ham world. So the PD682, a whole different radio in terms of looks and size and capacity compared to the 362. Let's look at the big brother to this one, the PD782. Now this one is similar in specs to the previous one. It is IP67 military standard 810. Are you catching the drift here on the quality of these radios? So you can drop this just like I did the 682 and not have a problem with it. This incorporates now vibration. Vibration with a larger screen, slightly larger screen, and optional GPS as well. So you can get GPS if you want. Maybe the North American model will either give you an option or maybe not have GPS at all, or maybe just make it standard. Now, I don't have the battery in this one because I want to show you the contacts in the back you've probably seen this on the waterproof version of the TYT. The case is sealed together, and then they have the seal around the battery contacts. So when you snap the battery on, you get a nice airtight seal, and don't ever try to open this because that ruins the waterproof effectiveness. Again, a monoband unit, and a lot of people like the 782. I've gotten some messages on the 782 that people say they love it. So if you get the VHF version on the commercial LMR series, 136 to 174 megahertz on the UHF. Now, with this being a LMR radio, not the DMR ham version, it's available in several other UHF frequencies. For instance, 400 through 470, or UHF 2, 450 through 520. And even you can use trunking on this radio at 806 to 941 megahertz. Probably, again, for the trunking commercial professional side on this radio. The ham version, probably not going to have trunking. We're not going to use it. A bigger battery at 2,000 milliamps an hour. So 8 to 12 hours analog, 11 to 15 hours digital. A larger capacity, although you're going to have a little bit of a bigger size with a larger capacity battery on here. And added weight, so it's 12.52 ounces. So it weighs more than the 682. If you get the VHF version of the LMR, it is 5 watts, 4 watts max on the UHF version, 1 watt on low. So an upgrade with the trunking, I would say. The trunking and the vibration on this radio as opposed to the 682, and minus the trunking on the North American model. So the 782, let's see what could be better than this, or how can we change this design and incorporate a new one. Let's look at the fourth unit. The X1P, they call this the Executive. I kind of favor this one in terms of looks because it has more of a modern tone to it. It has the silver around here. I'm guessing that's painted different, or maybe a more durable type of plastic around the impact points. But a slimmer design than the 782 with almost identical features. So this is, again, the land mobile model, which is available with trunking and many other frequency allocations per user request. The North American ham version will probably be locked to ham-specific frequencies. It does add Bluetooth. So in the commercial side, the Bluetooth is probably used for data transfer, or perhaps a headset or microphone over Bluetooth for audio, and maybe the North American version will have the Bluetooth. I'm not sure, but overall, features of the 782 with the vibrate, the IP67 waterproof, as well as the military 810 standard. It does have 1,024 channels with 64 zones, so plenty of capacity. to program your frequencies in here for traveling, plenty of storage space. It does incorporate an 1800 milliamp battery rather than a 2000, but they do say the 1800 milliamp battery for that slimmer design will still run 11 hours analog and 15 hours digital. 9.88 ounces, so it is lighter than the MD682 and 782, or PD682 and 782. So the menu structure is identical. Nothing new to learn really in terms of the radio, maybe a setting or two different, but the firmware for the North American model will probably have a few less features in here. In terms of appearance or functionality, button-wise, it's pretty much got all the same features. Only the PTT, or as called transmit button, is on the right side, not the left when you're looking at the radio. So probably the only radio I've ever used that has the transmit button on the wrong, or not the wrong side, but the right side instead of the left side. And the volume knob, I keep doing it. I grab for the right side. That's actually the channel indicator or channel selector. So not a big deal. It takes about 6.52 seconds and you forgot about it and you're used to it. So not a big deal. Other than that, in terms of summary, well, it's just about the same as a 782 with some slimmer design, a more modern feel, adding Bluetooth. And the promo code in the description that Gigaparts is running gives you $460 off this radio. So definitely worth checking that out if you're interested in the X1P. The programming software we'll take a look is probably exactly the same. So let's look at the last of the 5 radios today. All right, guys, the MD782 Mobile. This feels like a brute force mobile. I'll show you the chassis in a minute. But the mobile unit has the same menu structure as the last 4 units. So the same settings in the menu exist, okay? So it's really easy to navigate all 4 of these radios. They kind of have the same buttons and the same menu structure. So I think that's pretty neat that every radio they came out with didn't have a whole complete different menu. To start with some of the specs, IP54 rated, military standard 810. So that means it's not submersible in water, but it is resistive to probably light rain, dust, humidity, moisture and such. But it is rated military spec, so you can drop this thing on the ground and it should stand the test. The 50 watt VHF max, 45 watts UHF max, 5 watts on low. Now 5 to 25 watts is adjustable. So with 50 watts on DMR, if you're familiar with the DMR technology, this thing's really going to bridge the gap between you and distant repeaters. So when you're mobile, this thing is probably, some awesome range at 50 watts. It will do tier 2 DMR conventional, as all the other ones will, as well as tier 3 trunking. So this will trunk and, at your full 50 watts. It also does analog, so the frequency range is 400 through 470 megahertz. 1024 channels, that's 64 zones with 16 channels per zone. So you have plenty of memory in this thing to get a lot of your channels programmed into there. The programming jack is on the back, I'll show you that. But you can have a lot of repeaters in this thing and travel a great distance and have all the talk groups you want in this thing, all right? But to show you one more thing here, so the front firing speaker on here, man, this thing is loud, okay? In a mobile environment, you're gonna sound, if you've ever heard like an FPL truck where they're working on the side of the road and you can hear the radios blasting, that's what this thing does, man. It's loud. That speaker is loud, and that's something I struggle with. If I can't hear my mobile radio while I'm driving down the road with the windows open, I don't want it. This thing right here, your people in the lane next to you are gonna hear it when you're at full blast, all right? So the microphone port here has the waterproof gasket type seal in there, the orange seal, and it uses a 10-pin mic plug. Now, here is the mic, the stock mic for it, just a standard Hytera microphone. But it uses, again, the 10-pin connector. Now, I'm guessing that the 10-pin connector is probably for an updated or upgraded DTMF mic, or maybe a mic that has controls for the radio on it. So I'm guessing that's why there's 10 pins on a standard microphone jack. But overall, here's your GPS here. GPS is an option on this radio, so it plugs in the back. Let me show you the case on this thing. I'll disconnect it and show you around the case. So the case design on this thing, it's like more than half of it's a heat sink. So this thing is gonna, with a heat sink like this, you should be able to transmit a long time and talk on a long time in order to, you know, not hurt the radio. I mean, it's a nice, strong heat sink. On the back, so you have your power plug here. This is the programming cable. Now, if anybody's asking while watching this video, they all have different programming cables. So you can't take the programming cable from your PD362 and use it on this. All right, there's the, I don't even know how many pins that is. Kind of looks like the old game port for joysticks on a computer, you know. Your little SMA here is for the GPS. That's where your GPS antenna goes. And it uses a BNC. So you'd have to get an adapter if you don't have a BNC setup, no problem. But, you know, your mounting brackets here. It does come with the mounting brackets and hardware. All right. In fact, I'll show you here. So there's your mounting bracket comes with all the screws, you know, baggie of screws, extra fuse, microphone holder, all that stuff's included in the box. So you have everything to get up and running. And the programming cable is available at Gigaparts as well. So the software as well. So of these 5 radios, guys, which ones do you like? Which one do you want? Leave a comment. You know, I like the video. I like the radios. What do you see in these radios that I showed you in the videos? Please comment, subscribe, share, and, you know, stay subscribed for other videos. I'm going to make another one. We'll show you the Hytera programming software, as well as a couple audio tests through my hotspot. We'll see, you know, how they sound and what people say about them. So until next time, check out gigaparts.com for these radios, and check out my other videos on these radios that'll be up soon. Hytera, the leader in DMR, now coming to you in North America, and this is a game changer for the new line of amateur radio DMR radios. So 7-3, thanks for watching from KJ4YZI.